Frank Isola of the New York Daily News joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Frank?
Well, Rich, you just said something that's interesting. I think most people watching the game didn't know there was a rule.
Yeah.
Just like we didn't know, why can't you review LeBron James blocking Victor Oladipo's shot in the final seconds, which, had they reviewed it, would have been goaltending, or Kevin Love elbowing DeMar DeRozan in the face, and that would have been a flagrant foul, and that could have changed the outcome of Game 1. So I'm still of the belief what the NBA needs to do, adopt kind of an NFL way of doing things. Maybe give each team one challenge in the first half, two challenges in the second half, and just be done with it.
Well, I mean, what the NFL does, though, Frank, is it does allow last 2 minutes. They just remove all the challenges. It all comes from the home office now, and that's where it would have been last night. The difference between the NFL and the NBA here is that, yes, you can let's review whether somebody's in the restricted area or not. You could see feet placement. That makes sense. But when you open up replay, why are we now deciding whether it was a block or not when that's a judgment call? That would basically like let's make holding in the NFL open for interpretation when you open it up to see if somebody was in bounds or not.
No, you're 100% right. I think, it's so subjective. And you mentioned on the call how, Jeff Van Gundy thought it was a charge. Steve Javie, a very respected referee who now works for ABC and ESPN, he thinks it's a charge. But yet Kenny Maurer and Tony Brothers was the one who originally was going to call a blocking foul. They're the ones that, and obviously Kenny Maurer felt it was a charge, but when they reviewed it, they changed it to apply. I just don't like it because, to me, how often do you really see that, at all during the regular season, much less the playoffs? And here it is, the last minute of Game 1 of the NBA Finals. So here's the NBA again on an unbelievable night just in terms of some of the performances, LeBron, Steph Curry, just the drama of the game. And as it usually is with the NBA, a lot of the focus is on one or two calls and on the referees.
Yeah, I just the fact that replay came into bearing like that, I mean, that talk about a Pandora's box. And I'm seeing Mark Cuban tweeting about it all day, putting up links to articles to moments in previous games where no call is made or both calls. They say it's a charge and a block, and let's just jump ball it from there. Is that what should have been done last night? I mean, what do you think should have been done last night, Frank?
And that has happened before. But once again, I think, there's physical contact on just about every play. There were a couple, LeBron James got fouled on that play when Looney grabbed his arm as he was driving, and the referees didn't see anything. I just think the way to take care of it, give each team two challenges. So, for example, let's say Klay Thompson has 4 fouls in the third quarter. He picks up his fifth with a minute to go in the third. Maybe that's when you would use it because you don't think that he committed the foul. You want to keep him in the game. It would bring a little bit more strategy into it. I think it would cut down on a lot of these reviews. It's like you said, when I watch these games, when Victor Oladipo gets blocked at the basket in Game 5, which would have put the Indiana Pacers ahead in the final seconds, that's a season-changing type of play right there. I didn't realize that the only way that can be reviewed is if they originally call goaltending. So why doesn't the ref just call goaltending to cover himself, stop play, and let's see what happened, and let's actually see what happened on the play. So I don't understand why there's sometimes you can review things, other times you can't, and I think it makes it confusing to probably a lot of people who are watching these games who don't watch as much NBA basketball as you and I do.
Frank Isola of the New York Daily News here on the Rich Eisen Show. That said, there was another moment in the game that decided quite a bit. Ask the poll question of Frank Isola, Christopher.
Yeah, Frank, which was the more game-changing moment last night? The charge block reversal on LeBron or the J.R. Smith brain fart?
JR is going to be the more memorable one, but if the Cavs keep the ball there, they're up 2 with the ball, 36 seconds to go. So even if they work the clock down and miss, it's still up to the Warriors to have to make a shot. What JR did there, the game's still going to overtime, and I can't believe that he sat there after the game and tried to say that he thought that he knew that the game was tied. 4 years ago with the Knicks, we were at a game in Houston. The game was tied. He took a 3 when the Knicks had possession of the ball, 20 seconds ago, shot clock turned off. He took a 3, missed it. After the game, he admitted, I thought we were down by 2. So 4 years ago, he did the same thing, and he did admit to not knowing the score. Maybe because of how big of a moment this is, he doesn't want this to, be linked to him, but I don't know. I think that's going to be a tough one to get away from. Why would you grab the rebound with 4.5 seconds to go is when he officially grabbed the rebound and dribbled to midcourt? You're trying to kill the clock there. That's not setting up. I get it. You grab the rebound, you dribble into the corner because you're trying to create space for yourself because Kevin Durant would have been contesting a shot right at the rim. All right, you want to sell me that one? Maybe I'll bite. But you can't dribble the ball to midcourt and claim that you knew that the game was tied. That makes no sense whatsoever.
It makes no sense whatsoever, Frank. You are correct. But then this is another J.R. Smith moment, as you're pointing out, and it's similar to the one where he, mentally checked out of the game and then thought he should be physically checking out of the game, and the guy he's guarding got an easy 2 points. The question is, how do the Cavs come back from this? Obviously, they have opportunities. It is just one game, but this was it. I mean, this was it. They had it right there, Frank.
Yeah, I agree with you. LeBron. I mean, think about it. LeBron scored 2 times in the final minute of the regulation, which gave Cleveland the lead. So twice LeBron provided go-ahead baskets, and they still couldn't hang on and win it. And I've never seen those guys as angry and disappointed. I mean, that was LeBron like we've never seen him before. How angry and upset he was. He knows that they let this one get away from him. Here's the thing. Like, this guy is playing at such an absurd level. Like, I think he's capable of, if it's a 7-game series, that's probably the only way Cleveland could win. He's probably capable of 5 more of these games. He always has kind of like one really bad game. Game 5 against Boston was a really bad game. Can the supporting cast do enough? Now, last night, you have George Hill missing the free throw, which would have given them the lead, and then the J.R. Smith play, and you could see the look on LeBron's face as he's looking at J.R. Smith, but you also, it's like the weight of everything. It's like, I need these guys every once in a while to come through. It just can't always be me. Now, granted, they did come through in the fourth quarter of Game 7 against Boston, but it's going to be difficult because Golden State has a lot of weapons, and we'll see what happens Sunday. I'm getting to the point, though, now, Rich, where I'm not going to underestimate LeBron James. I think he's capable of anything at this point.
Well, certainly if Iguodala's out, and then the Warriors just don't look right now for whatever reason. So I agree with you. That said, Frank Isola, the Daily News, a couple more minutes with him. Let's dive back into Knick history again to try and provide some perspective now. Kevin Love stepping even a toe out on the floor last night, Frank, when there was the Tristan Thompson, Draymond Green, and Sean Livingston, et cetera, that was going on the floor. Do you think he might be suspended based on the history that we've seen? The NBA doesn't care whether it's the playoffs or not, like the Knicks Heat series from back in the day?
Yeah, and obviously the Phoenix Suns, San Antonio Spurs, when that Mari Stoudemire left the bench. It used to be letter of the law. I don't think it's that way. If you go back to, I believe it was April 23rd, it was a Oklahoma City-Utah game. Something happened on the court. Russell Westbrook was about to check in, and he walked on the court and he confronted Rudy Gobert. So there had been like a bit of a skirmish. And not only did Westbrook leave the bench, he actually joined, like he confronted Rudy Gobert. Now the NBA said, well, no, he was about to check in, so it's different. So something tells me that they're not going to suspend the 2 players. I think it seems like Adam Silver is a little bit more lenient than David Stern used to be. But Tristan Thompson was totally out of line because you got to leave the court there. And I also thought Draymond Green is a knucklehead. You already picked up 1 technical foul in the game. We know your history from a couple of years ago. Why are you taunting the player right there? You've already won the battle. You've won the war. Just pack it in. You got what you wanted. And Tristan Thompson, if anybody gets suspended, I think it could be Tristan Thompson more so than it would be Kevin Love. But it was a really ugly ending to the game.
Yeah, it was. What a crazy night. Right, Frank? I mean, that was nutty. I mean, that is as unpredictable a game 1 as we could have expected from Warriors-Cavs 4.
Yeah, and I think also, it's just so great for the NBA because the NBA, we've talked about this before, it's a drama league. It's like Brian Colangelo stuff happening. There's always stuff off the court, but even on the court last night, guys were playing at a high level, but there was a lot of wacky things that were happening. And you mentioned the Warriors not looking right. To me, it's Kevin Durant. Somebody said to me, Kevin Durant looks like LeBron did when he was in Miami and they lost that year to Dallas. Like to me, he's just not taking over like you think he would. I felt in Game 7 against Houston, it was Steph Curry, and I really thought last night, that Steph Curry basket, which is kind of getting lost in the shuffle, after they fell behind, he drives, he gets hit by Kevin Love, he converts the shot, then he makes the free throw. I thought that was a huge play. Steph Curry was terrific last night.
So in the minute I have left with you, Frank, what do you think does happen with the Colangelo situation in Philadelphia? How do you think it's going to play out?
You know what? It sounds like he's probably going to be out of a job. My only thing is, all these GMs are leaking stuff all the time. I mean, didn't you think that the San Antonio Spurs were kind of leaking out stuff about Kawhi Leonard all throughout the season? I don't remember anybody wanting an investigation launched. I guess it's just the way that it's happened, and I don't know if it's him. It probably is his wife. If I had to guess, I feel badly for him because I think when family members get involved, I have a little more compassion for people when it comes to something like that. But it looks like, to me, you know how it works, Richard. It just seems like the momentum is rolling towards him not being out of a job.
Frank, appreciate the time. Always love our chats. Always. Thanks.
Keep up the good work.
Right back at you. That's Frank Isola of the New York Daily News.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.